Hello YouTube, I'm back with the next Yu-Gi-Oh review, and today I'm reviewing the Starter Deck's Yugi and Kaiba Evolution. These decks are definitely an improvement over the originals, as you'll soon see, because a lot of the cards include better cards. This is also the debut, at least I'm starting with Yugi. Includes Blackluster Soldier. This was actually the only printing of it in English at the time. Includes the Ritual as well. They're both holo foil cards. You probably can't see it all that well on here, but yeah, these are Super and Ultra. The Blackluster Soldier was Ultra, and the Ritual is Super. This also includes some of the cards from the original. And another reprint of Dark Magician in the artwork that's first printed. So this is definitely an improvement. There are a lot more searching cards, as well as cards to search out, as well as lots of cards they use in the anime. In fact, Blackluster Soldier was used in the anime. It was kind of sporadic for Yugi, though. I mean, he mostly used it. I mean, he had one appearance at Duelist Kingdom, or one in the duel against Mai, and then after that it was kind of sporadic. It was saw a slight appearance against the Big Five in the when they went to that virtual game that Kaiba had created. That was also in Season 1. That was kind of like after the main tournament, but also includes all the cards that were kind of found in the original as well. I mean, here's Monster Born in this deck. Lots of searching ability. I mean, Sangen's back in this deck, including cards he's used in the show. Also cards to help kind of benefit the new cards that he's gotten already. So here's a Sonic Bird to help search out the ritual spell. It's definitely, I would say this is definitely an improvement, especially given that some of the cards include Axe of Despair. Is definitely, this is like good way to get all the more hard to get cards. Axe of Despair was pretty hard to get, and think unless you got Dark Beginning, but good luck getting it in there. That's like a 250. It's a big reprint set, 250 cards total. So this is definitely a good way to get some of the cards you couldn't ordinarily get otherwise. See, is there anything else I want to say about this deck? Lots of searching in here. I mean, some of the cards you find in this deck, you'll find in the other decks. This is a good way to get multiple copies. It's also, I mean, definite improvement. There's a lot less junk normal monsters in here. There's still some in here, but I think it's a lot more effect monsters. A little bit more stall. Some of the cards he would oddly enough use much later in the show, like Royal Magical Library. I believe he used... No, I'm sorry. He used that later. He used Skilled Dark Magician, which is pretty close to how that card works. It still has cards like Summon Skull. It's a little more of a mixture in this deck. A little bit of stall, a little bit of beatdown. Lot more support cards. So you could probably almost take this deck to a tournament and actually probably get some use out of it. And of course, it's got Karibo, including the classic artwork here. Yeah, you can see that we're a little bit bent up because I've had these decks for a long time. So, and of course, as you probably saw at the beginning, there's the Gazelle. That's also included in this deck. I think now we're no more into allergies. So that's my review on that deck. Here's the Starter Deck Kaiba Evolution, which includes the. Let's see, I think at this point this is probably the first printing of Kaiser Seahorse. It's an ultra rare card, and that's generally why these are ultra, because they're brand new at the time. And they may be super for the other cards that were previously new, but not new anymore. But of course, this deck is also a lot more updated. Includes the first printing of Shadow Spell, and actually, as it turned out, Shadow Spell would take a long time before we got another print. Long time. I think it was a structure deck later on. But a lot like the Yugi deck, there are lots of cards to help search out stuff, and this card is Witch of the Black Forest still banned, and for good reason. I think this is also you got lots of other cards that were previously hard to get, like Premature Burial. I think even in Dark Beginning was super rare, and those are like a lot harder to get than your typical super rares nowadays. Nowadays it's like next to nothing. And for Kaiba's deck, they actually included the common versions of the Paladin of White Dragon. That was originally in Magician's Force as an ultra rare. Actually, no, I actually had a copy of this card, but I mean, it's a little bit, these decks, I should also note, are a bit more advanced, although the Kaiba one may be, to some extent, more advanced than the Yugi deck. If that even makes any sense, especially given that the Yugi deck includes a ritual spell that's kind of more generic. There's no effects to it. Because Paladin of White Dragon, yeah, you're gonna have a long bit of text to read if you've never seen the card before. There's also a reprint of the original Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, Blue Eyes White Dragon artwork from Legend of Blue Eyes. So it was a nice inclusion there. Kind of, and what Kaiba Evolution deck wouldn't be complete without that card. And like the Yugi deck, this is also print of Soul Exchange. It's a common now because it was originally in Starter Deck Yugi. That's a super rare card. Now it's a common for this deck, so that's good. It's in the right deck now. Actually, it's going to be a lot more beneficial. Although you still have some cards, even though they're effect monsters, they're just not very good. I think in some sense, this deck is actually a bit worse in terms of playable cards. Because I mean, no one's going to use monsters like this, even though this is one of Kaiba's cards. It's level 7 and pretty junk stats for its its level and all that. Especially if you got Blue Eyes in the deck. Why would you need that anyway? You can't search it out with anything. It's like only except with Summoner's Art, searches out ritual, which searches out normal monsters. This is also, I think, one of the few prints of Luster Dragon #2, which is only significant because it was originally called Luster Dragon in Legacy of Darkness. But then, when Magician's Force came out, they had a 1900 attack monster that was called Luster Dragon. They said, okay, let's rename this card. And they did. I think they did it for Dark Beginning 2. I don't know whether this came out first or second, but definitely one of the few printings of this card with that new name. Let's see. Yeah, Flute of Sowing Dragon also gets reprinted here as a common, so that's pretty cool. It's a little bit like the Yugi deck in terms of like a little bit of beat down, a little bit of stall here. Although I think Kaiba's actually has more beat stick monsters like Obdiclaps, his classic version of Lajin. So get it in here. Yeah, it's the original artwork as well. This is the Legend. So and even Fairy Meteor Crush. I mean, that was pretty hard to get too. Until you get, I think, is it super or rare? I feel like it might have been a rare in its original printing, but either way, it's good to have reprints, regardless of how rare they are. And this is, I think, the only error version of D-Spell where the word spell is not the S in spell should be like the D in D in the name. They didn't correct that. That's in every print of that card if you get the starter deck, you will get one. You're pretty guaranteed to get one of that nature. It's not a big deal. Granted, you're still going to pronounce it the same way, but it's the only way you're going to get a copy that's written that way. Oh, and this reminds me of the other error they made in this one. Let's see, is it in here? No, maybe it's... Oh, yeah, it is. If you look carefully in the first version of the word spell, it's going to look... I don't know if it's going to show up too well. Maybe if I go a little closer. Camera may not be the best, but yeah, you can just see it. If you look in the text, basically right by the... I don't know what the... the pants of the monster in the artwork, the word spell has 3 letters in it. It's actually 3 L's. So they screwed that up. That's another... You won't find that anywhere else. Again, not that it really does a whole lot. It won't... That's not going to really boost the value of it by that much. It's not really that playable card. It's not a bad card, but it's not really... I mean, there are worse cards than that, but I mean, come on. This is like... And some of the cards you'll see in here, it's got a reprint of Trap Master. Not that playable, but reprints are always good, in my opinion, regardless of whether they're, bad or not. Because, I mean, they update text and all that, and that's what some of these did get. Let's see, is there anything else in here? And Lord of D, this is also reprinting cards that were previously foil, like Lord of D, and I think I already showed the Flute of Summoning Dragon. If not, here it is again. It's a common now, so at least in that case it was. It's had a few. They've had a lot of these cards have had printings over the years, especially with problem-solving card text, which has been like the basis of every card nowadays. Every card will have it to eliminate the need for rulings and all that. So yeah, that's my review on Starter Deck, Yugi, and Kaiba Evolution. Thanks.